Welcome to online class Standard 8 Social Science History Unit 3 Rural Life and Society. What is the meaning of rural life and society? The agrarian life and society, the agricultural life and society during the British people rule in our country. Learning objectives from this lesson: to know the land revenue policy under the British rule, to understand the merits and demerits of the land revenue policy, to know the agrarian crisis and revolt. What is the meaning of the agrarian crisis and revolts? The agrarian crisis means the agricultural introduced by the British people and the peasants in our country revolt against with the new agricultural system of British people. Now I am going to give the small introduction about rural life and society. In the pre-colonial period, the Indian economic was predominantly an agrarian economy. Most of the part it is in our country an agrarian economic based part of lands. Agriculture was the primary occupation of the people. Even industries like textile, sugar, oil, etc. were dependent on it. The British government in India must not adopt a pro-Indian agriculture. They must not accept for the pro-Indian agriculture. They introduced new land revenue policy in our country. British government introduced three major land revenue system, namely the permanent settlement, the Mahalwari system and the Rayatwari system. The economic exploitation of the peasants led to the revolt in future. What is the meaning of economic exploitation? The peasants needed for the gain or profit led to the revolt against in future. They must not get a proper gain or profit, so they revolt against with the British people. The land revenue policy under the British. The types of land revenue policy under the British people introduced. One is the types and lands revenue policy, the permanent settlement by Lord Cornwallis, Rayatwari system, Thomas Munro, Mahalwari system, Lord William Benedict. These types of land revenue system was introduced by the British people. Next one is the permanent settlement. What is the meaning of a permanent settlement introduced by the British people? When the Robert Clive obtained the Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa in 1765, they are used to be an annual settlement. First they used for that land revenue, collecting the land revenue from annual. Then next it introduced by the 5-year settlement and back to annual again. It was introduced by the Robert Clive during the time of Cornwallis. He introduced 10 years or permanent settlement introduced by him in 1793, and it was known as a permanent settlement. They must not collect annual income or annual tax from the people. They collecting the taxes from 10 years settlement, so that is known as a permanent settlement. Permanent settlement was introduced by Lord Cornwallis when it was introduced in 1793. The permanent settlement were made in Bengal, Bihar, Orissa and Varanasi division of UP and northern Karnataka, which roughly covered 19% of the total area of British people. It was known as different names. The British people only occupied all over Bengal, Bihar, Orissa, Varanasi and northern Karnataka also. Then different names known by the British people like Zamindari, Zagirdari, Malguzari and Besvedari. Then next one is salient features of permanent settlement was introduced by the British people. What is the meaning of salient features? The most important things of the permanent settlement. One is the Zamindar was recognized as the owner. Land and long they paid to the revenue to the East India Company regularly. The zamindars only collecting the land revenue from the peasants and paid to the East India Company regularly. The next point, zamindar acted as a agent of a government for a collection of revenue from the cultivators. Zamindars only act as a agent. They only collecting for the revenue from the cultivators. The next point. Then zamindars would grant patta to the ryots. The ryots became a tenant since they considered the tillers of the soil. All judicial powers were taken away from the zamindars only. So all the important matters faced by the zamindars only, they only acted as the agent of British people. What was the merits and demerits for the salient features of the permanent settlements? Merits, under the system, many of the wastelands and forests became a cultivable lands. That is also one good things for the British people. Next one, the zamindars became the owner of the land. Zamindars were made free from the responsibility for providing justice. The zamindars remained faithful to the British government. This system secured a fixed and stable income for the British government also. That is a merit for the permanent settlement. What are the demerits for the permanent settlement? What are the difficulties faced by these permanent settlement for the peasants? One is the British government had no direct contact with the cultivators. Second point, the rights of the cultivators were ignored and they were left to the mercy of the zamindars. The next point, the peasants were almost treated as serfs. This system was made the zamindars a lethargic and luxurious life. Many conflicts between the zamindars and the peasants arose in the rural of Bengal. Totally, the zamindars only enjoyed for the luxurious life. The peasants were lived in a poor and very poverty life according to the permanent settlement introduced by the British people.